right, 1-2. Let's go. 1-2. This is Mike 1. Good afternoon. We are at Avenger Park. Hello and welcome to you all. And a big welcome to Bernard as well. Good afternoon. This is NPL Victoria, the Senol Final Series, coming to you from Parkville.
This one is slightly louder, so if you can
turn it down a bit, yeah. Just drop that a bit. Right, let's go again. Good afternoon. Hello and welcome to Avenger Park. It is Sunday afternoon preliminary final football. Sweet. That's perfect.
Starts from Dandenong City, and they're playing off the spot in the grand final against Heidelberg United next Sunday. So it's your company for the call on Steve Kirk alongside David Clark and Chris Martielli. This is not playing out.
Good job.
It's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Awkward, yeah.
All right, I'll just run these out. I've tested the mics, they're all good, so yeah, we should be good to go in a few minutes.
It's prelim final Sunday in the Senol NPL Victoria Final Series as the Premiers Avondale host the disruptors Dandenong City, both striving for a spot in next weekend's grand final against Heidelberg United. Hello and welcome to a blustery Avenger Park here in Melbourne's inner north as we hit first against six. Dandy City unbeaten in 10 league games, Avondale unbeaten in 6. Welcome to this broadcast. My name is Steve Curtin and it's my pleasure this afternoon to be joined by Rick Marchioli. Welcome, Rick.
Good afternoon, Steve, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. Very interesting afternoon of football to come. We've got the Premiers versus a team coming in flying into the final, so really looking forward to it.
Absolutely right. Well, we'll be back after the promo with the starting lineups. And now to the starting 11s for Avondale. There's 3 changes to the side that went down by 4-2 here last Sunday in the Australia Cup semi-final against the Newcastle Jets. Matt Reid, Sian Cuba and George Ott all returned to the starting 11 at the expense of Stefan Zini, Kalilu Kamara and Manny Agwek. So it sees them resuming. Tom Manos in goal. Across the back four, it's Wellsmore, Reid, the captain Bryce and Blake Carpenter. At the base of the midfield, it's Yite Towns. In midfield, also in that midfield 3, it's Luca Tevere, Christian Trajewski. Sian Cuba gets a start on the flank. Stefan Valentini on the opposite flank, the right-hand side. And the big Kiwi, George Ott, will lead the line up top. On the bench for Avondale, there's a return to the matchday squad for Dan Edwards. Also, Stefan Zini, Manny Agwek, Kerr, Jackson Courtney Perkins, the sub-keeper, Mine and Kalilu Kamara. Well, Nick Tolios, he's happy with the winning form, so he goes in unchanged for a 4th straight week. Pierce Clark in goal. The back four, Valley Chesnick, the captain, Jack Webster, Gaku Inaba and Corey Sewell, Danny Kim and Tom Giannakopoulos at the base of the midfield. Jamie Latham with 2 goals in as many matches is in the number 10 role. On the flanks, it's Will Bauer, Tim Atherinos and Kenny Athu will lead the line, and we are underway. And it is Ianis Isis who refereed this fixture when Avondale won 3-0 back in round 9, overseeing things, and he's assisted this afternoon by Jordan English, Dimitri Gunaris, and the 4th official is Lucas Mathieu. It's been a blustery day in Melbourne so far, but conditions have, well, they've simmered down just a little bit for kickoff here. Rick, how do you think the conditions could play into this one?
Yeah, interesting. The pitch is quite nice, at least from this vantage point, so I don't know if that will play too much a part. Maybe the wind, there's no rain, it looks like approaching. So more interestingly to me is Avondale's starting lineup. So you've got top scorer Manny Agwek starting from the bench with George Ott favoured. Perhaps that's one where maybe they feel like they might have a fair bit of the ball and George Ott might provide some better link-up play in tighter areas. They might not get as much space behind.
And Avondale in possession here. Carpenter receiving from Bryce. Tevere, and here's Cuba. His brother on the opposition is starting from the bench. Bit of space here for Blake Carpenter to try the shot on his non-preferred, and the South Aussie has fired that one out into the car parking. It's a packed facility here today. The Reggio Calabria Club behind the northern goal is doing a roaring trade with the Father's Day lunches, and a big happy Father's Day to all the footballing fathers out there tuning in on the broadcast today. And appreciate your company on the NPL Victoria live stream. Myself, Steve Curtin, and Rick Marchioli overseeing this one for you. And of course, as we mentioned, the biggest prize on offer here is the spot to play off in the 2025 Grand Final at Lakeside Stadium, 6 p.m. next Sunday against Heidelberg United. Heidelberg punching their ticket with that 2-1 win against Preston on Friday night at a packed Olympic Village. And I mentioned the conditions, not to harp on about it, Rick, but it's Dandy City playing with the aid of the breeze in this first 45 as Cuba's gone down holding his Scania. Hopefully he's going to be okay.
And you just see that moment there as the ball was cleared. The aerial duel that George Ott can help bring as well. Maybe that's factored into the decision to start him today.
Oh, it's good to see something of an old-fashioned number 9 out there leading the line, and there's not too many of them these days, but George Ott does have that element of throwback in the way that he builds up the play, gets involved in the build-up. He had that fantastic 15-minute burst against South Melbourne at Lakeside just a few rounds ago, where he had a hand in 4 goals in the space of 15 minutes. It was something to behold. JB Latham is the one to watch for Dandenong City this afternoon, scoring that crucial goal last week. He also scored the previous week in the final round of the regular season out at Bundoora against the relegated Melbourne Victory side. Plenty of attacking options out there for Nick Tolios as well. Kenny Athu scoring that hat-trick the previous round against another relegated team, the Melbourne Knights, back at Frank Holohan in round 25.
See this little movement. Saw this a little bit against the Jets. Cuba coming towards the ball or inside, and Tavia just running beyond him as the fullback follows Cuba. Just keep an eye on that one on this left-hand side for Avondale.
And Valley Chesnick is maybe not noted for his positional play at fullback, normally higher up the park, and you wonder if is that something that Avondale's coaching staff might be trying to target a little bit, perhaps, Rick?
Yeah, it could be. We'll see as the game pans out as well, but yeah, like I said, we did see it against the Jets too, so it could be a feature coming up. The other interesting battle or comparison for me is Jamie Latham and Luca Tavia, two of the most productive attacking midfielders in this competition as well, and who can lend their talents the most in the front third might determine the outcome of this game.
Well, here's Latham getting on the ball, but the other man you just mentioned there, Luca Tavia, getting possession, and he's got a bit of space to move into here. Carpenter in support has been very busy early. And here's Matt Reid, who said he's preferred in defence to Kalalu Kamara, who started in the cup game in the semi-final against the Jets last Sunday. Happy to chop and change and not be too worried about keeping a super settled lineup. The Avondale coaching staff in recent weeks, given their heavy schedule of fixtures. Wellsmore on the far side. Pressure was from Bauer. Showed too much of it to Tommy G there. Giannakopoulos with the interception, and here's Latham. He works so well in these sorts of areas. Looking for options out wide. Bauer is there. And well played. Trycheski picking up the loose ball in midfield. He's only got George Ott ahead of him. Still giving chase. He finds the New Zealander who goes his own way, does George Ott, and he forces the first save of the game out of Pierce Clark, who was probably never going to be beaten at his near post, but for something with exquisite power, held his ground and puts it behind for the first corner of the afternoon.
I mentioned that earlier in the pre-game preview. Just those moments where Dandenong City will have the ball for a couple of moments, just to be very wary of Avondale on the counter. They're very good at it. George Ott timing his run really well.
So it is Tevere to take. Reid is rising high. Ott won the header. Falls to Cuba, who looks to have recovered from that knock he copped in the opening couple of minutes. Oh, it's a little bit of an undercooked pass from Wellsmore, but given the gale force wind that's blowing towards the right of screen, it had no problems making its way to Tom Manos. You can just see there one or two pie wrappers blowing their way across the pitch here at Avenger Park. Well played by Reid, put his body on the line and won the header. Ott couldn't keep it under control. It's Jack Webster, who doesn't mind mixing it in September. He of course scored that goal in the 2019 grand final that sent the game to penalties, which Bentley Greens eventually won.
That's another feature of Dandenong City's game to look out for as well. You see Jamie Latham just pop up on the left-hand side as well. He's very happy to float out there often and be found by diagonal balls from Webster.
Yeah, I'd love to see his GPS numbers. He seems to cover so much of the park, looking for those little holes in the front three and behind to try and get involved in the build-up play with his teammates.
But then you see that moment defensively, so that's the first time that he hasn't been hovering around Ute Towns. Towns gets on the ball, and all of a sudden Avondale have got a spare man in the middle. He's got to be mindful of that too.
Kim losing out. Inaba got a foot in. So the weather could cause this one to appear a bit scrappy, even though these are two in-form sides. As we said, Avondale unbeaten in the league in the entire second half of the season. 13 games unbeaten. And also 10 unbeaten for Dandenong City, the draw specialist. 10 draws they've had this season. Here's Timmy Atharinos, who scored a double against Altona Magic in the back end of the season, and he's won the free kick here in a handy spot here for Nick Tolios' side. And you can hear the travelling fans, 2 busloads of them. The Endeavour Hills Express making its way up the Monash Freeway to Parkville this afternoon, roaring on the boys in white this afternoon, looking for that Hajduk heist. What an upset it would be. 6 could knock off first and get themselves a berth in the grand final. It's never been done before. Latham's ready to take the free kick as soon as the ball will sit still. Good delivery by Latham. Oh, a little bit too deep in the end. Giannakopoulos was the man at the back post, but was unable to get onto that one as it fizzed into the fencing like a tracer bullet with the breeze behind Jamie Latham.
That's 2 or 3 times now that Wellsmore's played the ball straight up the line, or Reed, I think, did it earlier, straight to Valentini's feet. It's a difficult situation for him, that there's nowhere really that he can go.
It's a good duel, Sewell and Valentini, one to keep an eye on this afternoon. Just about worth the price of admission alone to see 2 of those exciting players in the competition going toe-to-toe over the far side of the pitch in this first half. Headers by Atharinos. Great first touch, Latham. Atharinos looking for options further afield. Bow was trying to make the run in behind. Once again, well marshalled by the experienced figure of Matt Reed back there. And here's Wellsmore. Will he look for Valentini up the line here again? Towns in a bit of space, which is the play out to this Tullamarine Freeway side of the venue. Bryce earning a bit of Bronx cheers from the travelling fans. Cuba almost getting in behind. The ball by Bryce was asking 1 or 2 questions of that Dandenong City defence, and they just about come unstuck there, but they've done enough to scramble it behind for a corner kick.
It's one of the best centre-backs in the league at that kind of pass, Aidan Bryce. It's a good little run too from Cuba, but as you mentioned earlier, Valley Cessnick maybe not the strongest area of his game and caught facing the wrong way.
Well, definitely intelligent play by Bryce to create the opportunity from the set piece here. Carpenter got a free header at the near post. Wasn't able to direct it goal bound, and it went across the face of the goal. It probably just needed a touch at the back post, really. Dandenong City can ill afford to concede a goal. They've got the breeze behind their backs already, trying to get the ball rolling in the first half and take advantage of that. They can ill afford to concede from a set-piece opportunity such as that one there.
An interesting one from the set-piece too, because Carpenter started crowding the keeper and then just peeled off just as the ball was taken and completely unmarked. Nobody knew from that pack who to follow him out.
Playing right out of their own 6-yard box here. Cuba.
Fantastic.
Great touch.
Fantastic, Avondale.
Here's Towns winning the ball back off Latham. What a duel that is between those two as well. Here's Trycheski in a bit of space, and Valentini can now face forward with the ball and run at Corey Sewell. This is the danger man here, Steph Valentini, floating it in towards the back post. It didn't beat the first man though. Trycheski kept his feet better than Atharinos. Valentini not on the same page as Wellsmore or Trycheski. Not clear which player he was actually aiming for ahead of him there.
Superb earlier passage, just inviting the press from Dandenong City and drawing Kim and Yiannakopoulos forward. You see Trejcheski ends up being the free man. And then that means Avondale are attacking Dandenong City's back four around the halfway line. Drawn them in, enticed them in with the ball. Very brave. Top football from Avondale.
Well, Avondale, they've been pulling some big crowds, particularly last Sunday at this venue, and with football like that, you can see why. Here's Tevere's corner kick onto the penalty spot. Kenny Athu was flying highest, doing the defensive duty, but it's come off a blue shirt last, and it's going to be a chance for Dandy City to hit the pressure release valve here. So a tense opening in the first 13 minutes at Avenger Park. We're locked at 0-0. Here's Clark with the only genuine save made so far from a tight angle from George Ott. And the candles have come on here, so we had a bit of sunshine on kickoff. It's back to overcast again here with the breeze blowing to the right of screen. The end that Dandy City are attacking. Valentini one way then the other, and well defended by Inaba.
And those last two involvements from Valentini, that's where you want him, facing the defender one-on-one. That's where he's probably at his best. Just starting to get a feel for the game and work his way in.
Well, it is a different look attack without Stefan Zinni on the left flank, as we've seen in some of their recent starting 11s, and Valentini seems to be the ever-present on the right flank at the moment, who scored some big goals when they've mattered. Scored that goal to seal their Premier's title in round 26 against Gully. Of course, that famous goal as well against Heidelberg United in that huge come-from-behind win back in the first weekend of August. That was pivotal in the trajectory of this NPL Victoria season. Here's Wellsmore in acres of space over on that far side. Again, Valentini cantering along ahead of him, and he decides to use Steph Valentini. Just as soon as the lights have been turned on, the sun's come back out here. Here's George Ott, gets onto the left foot, well blocked by Webster. Webster and Ott is a good duel as well. There's so many good duels all over the park this afternoon between two informed sides. It's high and handsome from Pierce Clark. Carpenter does well in the circumstances. It's been a hectic schedule for Avondale, it has to be said, with the regular games during the week, although the last 2 weeks they haven't had to play a midweek game. A little bit more time perhaps to work on some of these things for their final strategy, Rick.
Yeah, and they've certainly got depth to be able to deal with it that maybe some other teams don't have as much of, as well as a cohesion and an understanding of exactly what Zoran Markovsky and the staff want. So it is difficult, because it is still a semi-professional environment, but if any club and any team can handle it, it's definitely Avondale.
Well, here's Corey Sewell going on an adventure. He found Bauer in the edge of the area. The clearance is long and high and over the halfway line, but George Ott's adjudged to have used the hip and shoulder unfairly on Gaku Inaba, player who got his he got 2 goals in as many weeks. The second one against Port Melbourne just a few weeks ago, the central defender.
At least physically in that one-on-one duel, that's probably where George Ott wants to be a little bit more, rather than on this side battling with Webster.
Keep an eye on that duel as well between Ott and the 2 central defenders as Trejcheski finds a bit of space. Latham is unable to prevent Towns from charging forward. But Inaba stepping out of the defensive line to great effect there, and now Latham can advance forward with the ball. He's got Bauer to his left. Well in by Trejcheski. It's a little bit more of a dour affair than we're used to seeing in matches here at Avenger Park, but the fans here getting full value for money. A really good arm wrestle in midfield, and Trejcheski's won the free kick. Here is Valentini's first touch, lets him down this time. Now Nick Tolios, his message to his charges leading into this match, it's obviously it's first versus 6. There's a bit of maybe a psychological battle. What would he be trying to say to the boys in the lead up to this match?
I think that they've got nothing to lose. Really, they're in unbelievable form. They've got all the momentum. Avondale obviously coming off a loss, albeit against Newcastle Jets. from the A-League, but there's really nothing to lose. You can go out there and play without too much fear. They've already probably surpassed expectations, so anything else is a cherry on top, whereas a lot of the pressure, probably pressure of expectation at least, will be on Avondale in this game, because everybody almost expects them to win.
And, still early doors yet, but the longer it stays at 0-0, the more that pressure will build on the Avengers. So you see sometimes those home finals can be almost a curse at times, despite having the home advantage. Here's Jamie Latham. He's got no one wide left to go to, so he's going to come to this near side and find Atherinos trying to take on Carpenter. Two of the more diminutive players out there. Giannakopoulos, Latham now. His pass lets him down, and he had the good option of Will Bauer, who'd floated out to the right-hand side. It's perhaps Dandenong City trying to overload that side of the park. Well, in fact, it was Cesnik, and here he is, Valley Chesnik picking up the loose ball. He scored that late goal here last time these sides met to level things up. He's in a similar position to where he scored from too, but his touch let him down. Better signs though for Dandenong City. Avondale able to play out though with what looks like consummate ease. Trycheski over the top looking for Ott. Webster's hailing a cab, and the flag goes up for offside over there on the far side. Dimitri Gunanis, the assistant referee, was in no doubt that Ott had timed his run not quite to perfection there.
See, just that earlier passage, Dandenong City will have moments like that where they've got a bit of control in the attacking half, and they need to be vigilant behind the ball, because Avondale are not only comfortable coming out of those situations from deep, but once they are out, they're very, very dangerous when they're running at your back four. Seen a couple of times they've been let off. Ott got behind on the first one. That one he was obviously flagged, but they're the moments that Dandenong City need to be both aggressive but also a little bit wary.
Well, here's Dandenong City looking to break again. They like to just control a bit of tempo here. All 11 Avondale players behind the ball. Latham dropping deep this time. Combination with Valley Chesnik. He's got a bit of space if he wants to try and supply the cross here. Perhaps he's going to take on Luca Tevere. Gets towards the byline. Good ball in. Kenny Ather was lining up. Couldn't get on the end of the cross. Looked like it was bound for the right boot of Kenny Ather there to fire past Tom Manos as well. Well played by Valley Chesnik.
And a big problem for Avondale, because both Atherinos and Bauer, both wingers, were on this near side. So Avondale were a bit outnumbered there. Weren't sure who to track. It's already a bit of frustration with Avondale not tracking attacking movements from Dandenong, but it is difficult when they're so lopsided in moments like that.
Well, it's a bit of loose marking that cost Avondale last week. That opening goal from Burton Cello, he just popped in between the two central defenders, between Kamara and Bryce last week, to open the scoring, which all looked a little bit too easy.
First time I've seen young Xavier score with his head, I believe, as well. Know him fairly well. So they wouldn't be happy with that. And they want to make amends for some of that defending that they showed, because it was a little bit of a letdown for them, I think. I think they showed a pretty decent account of themselves going forward, but a little bit soft maybe at the back by their standards, and something they'll definitely want to atone for this afternoon.
Definitely with Luca Tevere scoring from open play and from the spot, also hitting the crossbar. It could have been a different set of circumstances. It's a full-blooded challenge from Tom Giannakopoulos, and he's going to be having a little discussion here with Giannis Isis, and just hope that Christian Trycheski is going to be okay to continue here. We'll catch that one again in our replay screen. It might have just been a glancing blow, hopefully, Rick.
I think he may have just pulled it up for excessive force, because he got the ball at first glance, but it's gone in fairly strongly. Maybe the studs were up a little bit. that's probably why he hasn't booked him either.
Well, sensible refereeing from Giannis Isis. Tom Giannakopoulos turning enforcer in midfield. He's one of the probably unsung heroes in that role that he plays in the league. Gives as good as he gets every week. Just has the one goal for the season, does Tommy G. Hit the crossbar with a rasping shot a few weeks ago down at Port Melbourne, which would have sealed their top 6 spot maybe a week earlier than when they clinched it in the end. What a season, Dandy City, coming home with a wet sail, unbeaten in their last 9 games in the league, clinching that 6th spot right at the end of the season off Hume City in the end. Here's Tevere. Ott, good footwork. Carpenter. Now Ott, this is a good little combination here. Carpenter continued his run. Ott couldn't find him.
He's made that inside run 2 or 3 times now, Blake Carpenter. Untracked. It's not an easy one to track when the fullback goes into that inside channel or the half space. It's a dangerous one, and you see George Ott's link-up play there.
Here comes the corner kick. It's away at the near post by Danny Kim.
Same aim, though. Carpenter starting on the goalkeeper and coming off just to the front of that 6-yard area for a shorter delivery. That's 2 or 3 corners that they've done that now, Avondale.
Well, Dandy City will want to wake up to that one, and we can see that Cuba and Valentini have switched flanks now, so Valentini out to this near side. Here's Ott, back to goal, tries to play the pass first time, it eventually made its way to Trycheski. Well played by Bauer, although they can't clear their lines. A little bit of pressure on Velichesnik. His defensive header was straight out of the coach's handbook, though.
Clever idea, too, from Sian Cuba, because a lot of players would have just maybe fired that low across the box. He's tried to just dink it up and over, looking for George Ott's head. Good bit of quick thinking.
Long ball by Manos, and again, it's a little bit awkward to deal with for that Dandy City defence as it just holds up in the breeze, and they don't know whether to come or go. Trycheski, promising position, tries his luck. His shot was into the path of George Ott, who controlled it and looked to fire on goal himself if he had have had the space and time. Dandy City looked to break again. Athu, well played by the target man, but they've turned it over here. This is a dangerous moment here. Avondale charging forward. Valentini, he's just switched flanks a few moments ago, and it's a good save in the top corner there from Pierce Clark to beat that one away and avoid being beaten at his near post.
Disappointing moment from the usually tidy Danny Kim as well, and again, that's what I was saying earlier. Avondale is so good in that situation. Tavia, if he's running at you outside the 18-yard box, you're in danger. Valentini facing forward against the fullback, you're in danger.
They're going to go short this time. Wellsmore, just about enough space for the shot. The smarter choice was to play it out to Cuba, who can hang this one in, almost literally. It's well away by Valley Cessnick, but it's all blue shirts at this end of the park, and Ute Towns still looking for his first goal of season 2025. So 26 minutes gone here. No one's troubled the scoreboard attendant as yet. We hope you're enjoying the broadcast on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel this afternoon. Steve Curtin and Rick Marchioli guiding you through this one. And Valentini, it's a clever first touch, and this will be the first yellow card of the afternoon, shown to Valley Cessnick for the late challenge. And Steph Valentini had got the better of him there.
Well, you see that passage again. Giannakopoulos and Kim are following Trycheski and Tavia around in that middle. And if Latham's not close enough to Towns, they've gone quick. If Latham's not close enough to Towns, there's a spare man in there for Avondale. They've found the spare man again. Found Tavia then facing forward because one of the midfielders had to jump. Found Valentini facing forward against the fullback. And again, it presents itself as a dangerous situation for Avondale.
Well, it was Valentini who'd fired that warning shot only a couple of moments ago. And he manages to create the opportunity here from the set piece. Blake Carpenter will be standing over it. Pierce Clark organising his two-man wall. Tall timber gathered at the back post. Everyone back in defence here for City. Carpenter. What a bit of a wasteful one. It's away by Athu. Oh, losing his footing was Atherinos. And he presented an opportunity to Valentini that even he couldn't have anticipated. Crazy moment in the Dandy City penalty area. No harm done in the end.
Interesting defensive free kick set up too from Dandenong City. They had a line of 6, but then a large gap where Webster was because he was very, very close. So I think it was Aiden Bryce from what I could tell from here. But potentially a nice little gap for somebody to run through that line for Avondale if they get another opportunity like that from a wide free kick.
Well, the slight delay in play here is for Jack Webster to retie the shoelaces. Game 338 in NPL Victoria today. Doesn't get much more experience than that from the 35-year-old central defender. He's grabbed himself a couple of goals this season. It's long by Pierce Clark. Bauer. A little bit of pocket of space for Latham. Atherinos tries his luck past the post. And the home fans, the away fans, are ready to jump about on the temp stand to our right. They're making plenty of noise now.
Great to see. They've made the journey down on the buses. They were nice and noisy when they came into the ground as well.
They must have been singing on the bus ride all the way here, I fancy, Rick.
Love to see that.
Good passion on show this afternoon. As you'd expect, it's finals time. There's lots at stake. And it would be one hell of an upset if the sixth place team, would be the first time we've ever seen it as well, the sixth place team would make the grand final.
There's that moment again. So Yannikopoulos has had to jump out to deal with Towns because Latham wasn't close to him. And now Latham's found himself quite deep dealing with Tavir. Otherwise, Avondale would have had a spare man in the middle again, and they've found their way out.
Carpenter's scrapping for it here. He's maintained possession under a fair bit of duress. Towns is available in the middle. He decides to go all the way back to Bryce. They can reload here through Reed. Wellsmore trying to stamp his impression on the game here. Cuba. Trycheski with the 1-2. Cuba's going at full gas, but he's not going to be able to get there before the byline arrives.
You can see Zocchi's reaction down there on the touchline. They certainly want to see more of that. Avondale, I think, a little bit more aggressive. 1-2 in that case, combination play. Just trying to get at Dandenong City a little bit more than they have done. It's been a little bit maybe safe for their liking at times. Seen Valentini a couple of times square up his fullback, but other than that, they haven't gotten behind as much as maybe they might like.
Well, it's a tense atmosphere here. Every moment matters in this game. The first goal crucial. In Arbor's ball forward, it's straight into the possession of Yite Towns. So Avondale trying to move around that defensive shape of white shirts they see ahead of them. That's a nice range of passing from Bryce again. He finds Tevere.
Finds that pocket, especially out here on the left, so well. Tavir.
Athu putting the pressure on. Reed was equal to it.
There he is in the right pocket now, Tavir, just as I say that.
Well, he's covering a fair bit of grass out there, and here he is again, receiving from Wellsmore. Just looking for space for the shot, perhaps. Out wide to Cuba instead. Cross with the instep, had a lot on it. Got under the ball.
Well, as this game progresses as well, you've got Kerr and Agwek still to come on. So if Dandenong City start to gain a little bit of confidence and maybe start to creep forward a little bit more, Avondale have got those kinds of weapons coming off the bench in the second half that will pose an altogether different threat to Sian Cuba.
Well played by Reid to save the day there. Well, that's the thing about Avondale. They just seem to have so many options, so many routes to goal from all over the park. Far more than any other side at this level. With the depth they have to come off the bench as well. You factor in the likes of Yui Armand as well, who's currently out injured.
And the beauty of that means you can vary your attack. You can present different problems to your opponents. You're not as static in what you do.
We could also see something perhaps like Ott and Agwek out there at the same time today, given what may transpire. Often those two have job shared the number 9 role, more often than not. It's long ball by Pierce Clark. It's been preferred for the last 4 matches over Matthew Marum, who had an extended run during July. In goals for City. A bit of head tennis, and it's across the byline for a Dandy City throw. So just over 10 minutes till the halftime break. Fancy we might have seen a goal already, but not the case. And the high stakes of this one will certainly dictate the way the game state has transpired this afternoon so far. Here's Wellsmore. Continuing his run now, Trycheski. Wellsmore still forward. He's been getting forward more and more as this half has gone on. And now Valentini can face forward here against Chesnick, who's already on a yellow card. And it's really well defended by Valley Chesnick. Like an experienced specialist right fullback there was Valley Chesnick. And he's motoring forward in possession. Well played Latham. He can just about find Will Bauer out on this near side. He's got Carpenter to beat. Little reverse pass, and Valley Chesnick has continued his run, and Valley Chesnick almost beat Tom Manos there at his near post. Chesnick goes to ground. No pens the call from Giannis Isis. Don't think there was any serious appeals for one, but what a passage of play from Valley Chesnick, winning the ball back and going from coast to coast up to the other end of the park and almost opening the scoring.
It's almost as if he heard us a moment earlier saying that that wasn't a strength of his game. He defended that masterfully and then ended up in the box on the other end of the ground, almost scoring. Excellent work, Valley Chesnick.
Maybe he's the kind of player that defends better when he's under that extra pressure of being on a yellow card. Kenny Athu just trying to put the cat amongst the pigeons a bit here. Aidan Bryce trying to keep him away from Tom Manos. We'll await the taking of the corner kick. It's going to be the in-swinger here. Bauer to deliver in front of the travelling support from Dandy City. Manos came, got a touch. Well played by the Avondale keeper. So, still locked at 0-0 in this Chenol final series match in NPL Victoria preliminary final Sunday.
Webster and Reid keeping Giannis Isis busy. Bit of push and shove between the two of them. You saw Webster just peel off to the back, and if Manos didn't get his hand to that last one, might have ended up pretty close to Webster's head.
This time it's Latham taking the short corner. 1-2 with Atherinos. This is going to hang in the air for a long, long time. Good header by Yanava back across the goal. And it's well dealt with in the end. Cuba's first touch was good, but Chesnick was able to get in and win the ball back. Will Bauer giving chase in vain. Nick Tolios just having a quiet word with fourth official
Lucas Matteo in front of us. Now it's Blake Carpenter's turn to incur the wrath from the travelling Hajduk faithful as the sun comes out and graces us with its presence again for the second time in this first half. We've got a bit of a blood nose situation here, Gaku Inaba. Maybe that last header actually came off the beak there for Gaku Inaba. So Dandy City down to 10 just for the moment, while Gaku Inaba is getting the treatment for the blood nose. Can Avondale take advantage of the misfortune of Dandy City? Corey Sills not going to allow them the chance to attack. He's put that one into the Melbourne Zoo just about. Tom Giannakopoulos deputising in central defence for the moment while Inaba is off the field. He's a player who's played in a variety of positions this season. Central defence, right back, central midfield. Could this be the time to strike for the Avengers? Still a patient approach. Here's Reid. Wellsmore with space to move forward. Trycheski. He's got Tevere out wide right. Tries to go centrally. And again, well handled by Valley Chesnick. Atharinos is going to try and get up the park. And the good news for the Hajduk fans is that Gaku Inaba is ready to come back onto the pitch. And they'll be back to 11v11. Well played, Valley Chesnick again. He just waltzed his way around Steph Valentini there. He's really having a moment at the back end of this first half. There's no way past Wellsmore for Athiu.
See George Ott just dropping in now opposite to wherever Tavir or Trycheski are positioning themselves, almost making a midfield four at times. Just looking for another way to get control and maybe get someone facing forward in that midfield area. And then he just joins the last line once they do break through.
He's such a smart player. Oh, look at that ball. Quality ball for Valentini. Tevere. He's got two players in white shirts to beat. Away by Valley Chesnick.
Thought about trying to sneak inside there, Tavir, I think.
I'd love to see him attempt that one. It would have been class if it came off. Valentini going all the way to the byline. He can get the cross in here to the back post area. Cuba wasn't tall enough. It just kept on floating across the goal mouth. Across from Valentini. Tevere. Cuba, he can shoot here. Oh, and he's just dragged it across his body. I don't even know if that was going to be on target.
They're probably the sorts of positions that Cuba would prefer to find himself in, within shooting range, just floating inside off that flank a little bit more.
Well, Diego Cuba, should I say Sian Cuba, he's got 3 goals in NPL Victoria this season. His brother Diego on the opposite side of the equation today just has the 2. Will we see them both on the park at the same time at some point this afternoon?
Just seeing that last passage when Webster had the ball, Kenny Athiu dropping really deep as well. So both teams just trying to get a stranglehold of that middle third. Not too much activity from either bench as well, just letting the game breathe a little bit.
It seems like calmness from both technical areas, not a lot of ranting and raving going on as they prepare their messages for the halftime team talks. 3 minutes till the break, plus stoppages in the Chenol final series, NPL Victoria preliminary final Sunday. We hope you've enjoyed this first half so far. It's been engrossing. It hasn't been one that's presented us a bunch of goalmouth opportunities. We've enjoyed watching the two contrasting styles going at it, and that ball by Latham almost found Tim Atherinos. Space for Carpenter as the defence retreats ahead of him. Ott can turn and face forward here. George Ott tries his luck from distance, just around the post. Oh, Zoki Markowski was up out of his seat, ready to celebrate. George Ott, he was a fair way out. Tried his luck. Pierce Clark at full stretch. Can't have been too far away there.
Again, another pattern of the first half. You see Carpenter driving into that space just inside off the left, combining with Ott, who comes off the last line, and Ott was able to turn and have that shot. But again, it's been a trend in this first half. Carpenter finding that space on the inside, on the left, and with a little bit more aggression that time as well. You could hear the technical area urging him forward to drive with the ball.
Well, we are scoreless. It would be a huge shock if we were to see a bit of late drama in this first 45 before the players disappear down the players' race. Manos's long ball is hanging in the wind. Good header, Giannakopoulos. Latham's the beneficiary, although his pass was closed down. Good touch by Ott in difficult conditions, and he sends it out in front of Sian Cuba here, who's galloping forward. Gaku Inaba recovering from that nosebleed. He's looking $1 million again. Well, that, as I say that, back pass to Pierce Clark almost left the keeper a little short.
Lovely technique from George Ott in that last movement to bring that high ball down and then just dink it over into the path of Cuba.
No doubt George Ott's played in some windy conditions back in the land of the long white cloud in Wellington, Lower Hutt, Hamilton Wanderers. He's probably loving these conditions. Here he goes again. He's dragged Webster out of the defensive line. Atherinos taking no chances. And just the 1 minute will be added. Lucas Mattia holding the ball aloft with the single digit added time. Not too many delays in this first 45. So in the shadows of halftime, we'll just sum up the first 45 here, Rick.
I don't think either side have really made their opponent face backward enough, face their own goal enough. Avondale have probably had a little bit more control of the ball, which we expected, and as we said, Dandenong City will have their moments, and they've just got to be wary, especially with the two boys that I mentioned earlier coming off the bench potentially in the second half in transition. But it's been relatively cagey apart from that. I think I can only remember one real save from Clark.
Well, Giannis Isis has seen enough for the first 45. It's locked at 0-0 as the players head towards the tunnel. Neither side able to break the deadlock and get 1 foot into the grand final next Sunday against Heidelberg in this Chenol NPL Victoria final series at halftime. Avondale 0, Dandy City 0. Messages at halftime from me, the coach, Rick, that would be likely to be shared to the players?
Like I said, I think with Avondale, just that aggression, take the front foot a little bit more. Dandenong City, more of the same. They've looked relatively comfortable so far. Sets up an interesting second half.
Absolutely. Well, you don't want to miss a minute of that second 45 from Avenger Park here. Looking forward to your company in this Chenol final series match, preliminary final Sunday. We'll be back after this short break. Both myself, Steve Curtin and Rick Marchioli looking forward to a big second 45 and maybe even more here from Avenger Park this afternoon. Well, hello and welcome back for the second 45 preliminary final Sunday in the Senol NPL Victoria Finals Series. We're locked at 0-0 between Avondale and Dandenong City. Got some glorious sunshine shining across the park here in Parkville now as Dandenong City get us back underway, playing to the Brunswick Road end. And, well, notably, they're playing into the breeze now in this second 45. Thanks for your company. Steve Curtin back behind the mic, and alongside me, welcome back to the broadcast position, Rick Marchioli.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, you're right. They are playing into the breeze, and it might play a little bit more into a striker like Kenny Athiew's hands. Just having that ball hold up a little bit and not having to make those runs in behind as often might lighten the load a little bit for Jamie Latham, who's been making some of those movements around big Kenny Athiew.
Well, a little bit of goal math action in the first half. If you have just joined us, George Ott firing at the near post, saved by Piers Clark in the earlier minutes. Steph Valentini switching from right flank to left flank, got an opening. Again, had a shot saved by Piers Clark, who's now wearing the baseball cap as he looks into the sun in this second 45. And Tom Manos called into action to make a save from Valley Chesnick, who'd made a tremendous run from right back after intercepting the ball and getting on the end of a good string of passes from Dandy City down their right-hand side. This is a good move here, but it's broken down as Inaba read the through ball better than George Ott over near the scoreboard, which, as we say, reads 0-0 between these two sides as they battle it out to face Heidelberg United in the grand final at Lakeside next Sunday. Here's Wellsmore. He was worried out of it by Sewell. Just wonder if Avondale are going to come out full gas here in this opening few minutes with the breeze behind them, Rick.
Well, I have to say, I mentioned two dangerous attackers on the bench for Avondale that could potentially come on, and I didn't mention Stefan Zinni. So that's a pretty massive oversight, and a third very dangerous attacker that Avondale have in the armoury ready for the second half.
Bryce waltzes into midfield with the football. Valentini still on that left-hand side. Overlap from Carpenter. Early ball in for Ott. He's well away by Inaba. He's been busy this afternoon.
Wellsmore, he's playing well from these sorts of areas, but maybe Avondale want to see a little bit more of him in the front third potentially as well. We saw a bit from Blake Carpenter, but if Wellsmore can maybe get himself involved in flattening off a little bit more often in the first half and the start of this second half.
Well, we saw his qualities last year for Oakley in the league, scoring the winner in the grand final and a memorable goal in the Australia Cup against Sydney FC, also at the home of the Matildas, playing in that deeper role this year as a fullback for Zoran Markowski's side. No doubt he would love to impact on the scoreboard a bit more as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And we know he can play further forward. He can even play as a central midfielder, sort of like a box-to-box type of player, or a bit of an all-rounder. So we know he's got the quality to go forward, but he's certainly flattening off a little bit so far in this game. And maybe that might be one of the keys for Avondale in this second half.
It's a slightly different equation for Dandy City playing into the breeze in this second half. I guess the message might be to keep it on the floor a bit more, perhaps. Cuba running into the channel. Piers Clark thought about coming for it, decided against it. Cuba gets there before the byline. Wellsmore's in space to supply the cross. It's a delightful ball to the back post. Oh, again, Valley Chesnick again was coming in to apply an extra bit of insurance along with the central defenders there, won the header.
And there you go. And I can understand why Wellsmore initially is flattening off, because it does bring Bauer, in this case Atherinos, a little bit further away from Cuba, and Cuba found that sort of space. And there you go, Wellsmore in the front third, and all of a sudden it's a bit more danger for Avondale too.
Well, I thought Wellsmore was about to supply the assist just after we were talking about him there, Rick, but it wasn't quite to be. As the breeze picks up here again at Avenger Park. It's a good ball into the back post. Cuba contorted his body well to get something on the end of it, but it was side netting.
And you just saw Tavir pick the ball up in that left pocket, his preferred area of the park, no doubt. And one weapon for Dandenong City to be very aware of in this second half, especially with the wind at his back, is Tavir's long-range strike from that sort of space. From that range, you can be really dangerous. Cuba as well off this right, but Tavir from there.
Good ball in from Carpenter. Ott was only 7 metres away from getting his head on the end of the cross.
Just got on the wrong side of Inaba there too. Decent little movement from George Ott.
Here's Clark told to hurry up by Giannis Isis. His long ball is going to hold up into the breeze. He got some good purchase on it, despite the strong breeze that he was kicking it into. Here's Kenny Athu. Good feet from the big man here. He can turn and play it forward. Giannakopoulos was lurking between the two defenders. Didn't quite make the most of the opportunity. It comes into the back post area. Manos just watches it over the byline. So Dandy City showing that they can get forward into the breeze in their second half. And Tom Giannakopoulos, not a player we expected to be making the run beyond the striker, but that's what we saw there.
We know he's capable. We saw that run at the end of the game last week against Thunder that helped cause Alessi's red card as well. So he certainly can get forward. Well read, Inaba.
Great interception, and it provides the opportunity for Tim Atharinos. He almost shaped for the futsal toe pokes style of shot there, and he just skidded it along the ground, and Manos was relieved he was able to make a fairly regulation save in the end. Good opening for Tim Atharinos, so a couple of moments for Dandy City in their second half. It had been all Avondale in the opening minutes. Here's Ott again, dropping in to pick up the ball. Touched by Cuba was clever as well. Ott, and now Tevere gets onto his left foot. Thought about the shot, perhaps a strong sliding challenge by Danny Kim. Won the ball back well. Giannakopoulos, him and Latham weren't quite on the same page. Strong challenge by Bryce. Got the ball. Play on's a call from Giannis Isis. Game starting to get a little bit more stretched in the opening stanza of this second half.
I think Nick Tolios is arguing that it's similar to the first half foul that I believe it was Giannakopoulos made where he lunged in.
There's nothing, no uncertain terms about the messaging from Nick Tolios to the fourth official Lucas Mattia there. I think you might be right on the money with that. With that one, Rick, as Towns draws pressure from Giannakopoulos and Atharinos. Those Dandy City fans to our right, the two busloads of them that have made the trip from Endeavour Hills up to Monash this afternoon, they're ready to get their vocal cords into full swing if Dandy City can somehow find an unlikely opener here against the 2025 premiers. Athu looking for Bauer. Carpenter picks off the pass. Trojczewski in the centre of Avenger Park. Again, well read by Webster.
Disappointing pass that from Trojczewski. They're the sort of moments that they need to capitalise on, especially because Dandy City appear to be a little bit more compact in this second half.
That's a good ball by Giannakopoulos to find Atharinos. Digs it out, gets it over to the back post. Flicked away by Carpenter. It's going to be a Dandy City thrown out near the turnstiles here. As Rick was saying earlier, it was fever pitch as the two busloads of Dandy City fans were coming through the gates about half an hour before kickoff. So Avondale with everyone back in their own penalty area, except for Steph Valentini, who's just outside of it, and he steps inside as I say that. Who can win the header here? Way by Wellsmore. Latham is there. Inaba has scored goals from these sort of situations a couple of times this season, but Avondale's able to repel. Off the knee of Reed. It was a bit of an awkward one. Just bouncing around. It's a little bit uncomfortable for Avondale here. Webster's down behind play.
3 absolute units all contesting for the ball there, Bryce, Athieu and Webster.
Dandenong City going to keep going here despite Webster being down. And it's a really good block by Bryce and Bauer. And the concern here is for Jack Webster, who's the man who's made of stern stuff, and he stayed down on the deck for a couple of minutes here. He might have come down and done an injury to his elbow or shoulder as he hit the deck in that aerial duel.
He's definitely pointing to the elbow. It's not often that Webster's the smallest man going into a duel either.
No, he's a player that packs a punch. There's no arguments about that. So the trainer is out to check on his welfare at the moment. So we might have a little bit of a delay before Dandenong City can take this corner kick. Their options on the bench. Many of them are attacking. Brad Plant, Diego Cuba, Donny Gurditch, Malika Boosba, Jackson Lino. So there's not an out-and-out central defensive option on the bench. It's probably a common situation that we see that these days.
Probably signals the type of intent that Nick Tolios and Billy Theo want this team to play with as well. Pretty aggressive, both in mindset and evidently in personnel as well. See Avondale already asking the question about time wasting.
Yeah, they want to get on with things, the Avengers.
Which I don't think is the case, because he definitely went down heavily, and it is a little bit early for that sort of thing, but Avondale will want every minute available to them to try and unlock this Dandenong City side. They're going to have to defend this corner without Webster as well.
Yeah, he's just gesturing there. It's something similar to an accident you see in bike racing with the outstretched hand hits the deck. He wants to come back on, it looks like. He spent a fair bit of time with the physiotherapist there, Nick Hatzidimitru. That's Latham. Oh, Tavir's clearance was not on point.
Apologise, I said they were defending the corner. They had to attack the corner without their main weapon, Webster. And you could see it just sort of fizzled out for them. But they've got another opportunity to attack with a set piece, this time with Webster in the box.
Well, he's such a focal point in these sort of situations, and he shrugged the trainer off, and he's going to assert himself into the penalty area here, and he's scored 3 times this season, twice in league, once in the cup, from these sorts of situations. All about the quality of the ball here from Latham. Or will it be Bauer? It is in fact Bauer. Athieu was at the back post. Evaded everyone, and now Valentini. That's a great tackle by Danny Kim. Textbook stuff there. Plays it inside. Giannakopoulos waltzes away from Trycheski. So despite the injury concern to Webster, who's actually stayed forward in this phase of play, they're really going for it, aren't they, Dandenong City? Central defenders just staying up with the attack. He makes his way back to central defence now.
It was Inaba that would have been on the end of it as well.
I suppose that would have been, the main message Nick Tolios would have been bringing into this week is not to fear Avondale. They haven't done that this afternoon, Dandy City.
Interesting little movement there from Tavir and Avondale. Valentini just dropping in and bringing Valley Cessnick with him. Tavir making the running behind, but here come Dandenong.
Well defended by Reed, and Towns picking up the clearance. Finds himself in acres of space, and he's going to try and play through George Ott here. It's a nervy moment for Pierce Clark. He gets it out of play. It might have come off the shin guard almost. It was bouncing awkwardly with the breeze behind it there.
Another positive, similar movement from Ott, just coming into the pocket, bringing Webster with him, and then spinning away off his shoulder to try and receive that. The wind just took it a little bit.
Well, we've gone past the hour mark in this Senol final series match, preliminary final Sunday. It's 1 or 2 appeals for a handball. Webster wins the free kick for the foul against George Ott, right near the corner flag, which is, well, it's gone beyond 45 degrees now. It's almost parallel to the playing surface. It's that windy out there.
It's parallel with, I believe that's Mark Avellino on the camera down there.
Well, he was complaining about the wind at half-time. Well, the corner flag's just broken in half, or the post has, so we might need to get a replacement. Or is Pierce Clark going to be able to mend that one? Well, this is one for your peak NPL memes happening in real time here. The bit of PVC pipe is, looks like it's snapped in half out there, Rick, so we could even have a delay in play here. As it's not going to be deemed safe by the officials to play on with a corner post that's protruding at that height, you'd imagine. We've already had a delay in this second half for the injury to Jack Webster, who looks to have shrugged that off. Can't see anyone coming running out of the gear sheds with a replacement yet.
The official's just making his way around from our side. Just running against the wind though.
Well, he heads across. You can see the Avondale fans' flags behind the goal there, blowing at full gust.
We'll stick one of those flags in and get on with it.
There we go. Well, Valentini's offering to help out to get things going again. We were questioning the positioning of the photographer, Mark Avellino, at half-time. Perhaps he could have been up here and out of the wind. He's managed to get prime spot for this significant second half delay. It's continuing on here because it seems that the two bits of PVC pipe will not be united together. Surely there must be a spare over in the gear shed somewhere that we can go and dig out, dust off the cobwebs.
Best league in the world, Steve.
One or two spectators growing impatient here. You fancy it's going to be a healthy amount of stoppage time at the end of this second half with the injury to Webster, this significant delay, corner flag post ending up in 2 pieces.
You can see the urgency though in Steph Valentini, because he was the one complaining about Webster being down for a while earlier. He's gone over twice to try and fix the corner flag himself.
And we now, as you can see there, Bernard behind the camera for Sportscast Australia this afternoon, giving you the best look at the action. And at the moment the action is one of the Avondale staff has brought out the replacement corner flag. And straight away, as soon as it's placed in the ground, it's already at about 45 degrees due to the strong wind that's blowing to the right of screen this afternoon. Well, how will this second lengthy delay in the last 10 minutes or so affect the groups of players out there? Hopefully it's not too long that it's upset anyone's rhythm.
Towns just finding really good space behind Dandenong's first line of pressure.
Sill closed down the space for Cuba to try and send the cross in. Tevere Closed down by Giannakopoulos. Wellsmore finding a way through here, perhaps. Again, well defended. Corey Sewell showing all of his experience this afternoon. Well played by Bauer. He found Latham. He's only got Athu ahead of him. And again, Yite Towns is just full of running, and a player that is known for running, not getting chased down too often. Jamie Latham. Well, Towns wheeled him in with consummate ease.
Just a heavy pass, but again, Carpenter finding that inside left space, pocket, half space, however you want to term it. And clever defending in the previous passage from Towns as well, because he knew what it appeared Latham wanted to do. He was just slowing down and changing his tempo and looking to cut across the front of him, and he didn't present the opportunity to do it. He kind of just ran alongside him and let Latham give the ball up on his own.
Well, here is the Avondale staff member making his way. I think he's doing a lap of honour after replacing that corner flag. He's gone all around the pitch. Things that you love to see at the local grounds. Here's George Ott. Is the moment here? No, it's not. For George Ott. It all opened up for him there.
Rare error from Webster, and Ott, smelling blood, just makes that little movement behind Webster and in front of Inaba, just between the two central defenders. Movement he makes so well. Gets him behind, and would have liked to have done better with that one. Big chance.
Well, he was fed by Christian Trajewski. Couldn't make the most of the opportunity, and we haven't seen any action on the benches yet, but we might be about to here as the fourth officials board has been pre-populated with a couple of shirt numbers, and a bit of paperwork coming in as well from the Avondale technical area from Jeff Fleming as well, the assistant coach there. So Avondale look, they're going to pull the trigger first on the subs. Probably not a huge surprise there. Well played by Jamie Latham. Giannakopoulos in tight spaces. Towns was in late. And it might be the second yellow card of the afternoon. Yite Towns, the late challenge on Latham.
Double change coming for Avondale. And it's the two men we mentioned earlier, Kerr and Manny Agwek.
So you wonder if we might even see George Ott left on here to play in tandem with two up top. We'll wait and see. Here's Cuba. Could they score before the changes are made? Valentini's in a bit of space. It's well away by Valley Chesnick. Read the moment best, made the clearance. And he's had a really good afternoon, Valley Chesnick, and it's created the opportunity for Will Bauer, who's just run out of room over on the dressing room side of the venue.
Skipped Carpenter's tackle, but then couldn't skip his own. First part was excellent from Bauer.
Looked like he'd found acres of space after speeding past Carpenter. Wellsmore. Plenty of space here for Carpenter to advance the ball up the park. So Tevere and Valentini ahead of him. So wait that double change. Agwek and Kerr. Ball for Cuba was a little too ambitious, and it's out of play in front of the scoreboard as we're approaching 70 minutes, and it still reads 0-0 in this Senol final series match. So George Ott is sacrificed for Manny Agwek, so like for like up top. Valentini's race has won his run as well. So looks like Kerr is going to perhaps line up on this near side. Cuba moving back over to that left-hand side where he started in the first half. Tevere, bit of space here. Standing Dandy City starting to back off just a touch. Now, Agwick and Ott, we were speaking earlier, two very different types of strikers. How will this change the Avondale focal point in attack, do we think, Rick?
Just let this unfold.
It's a good ball by Latham. Bauer could be in behind here. Big challenge. Carpenter, who celebrates it like he's scored a goal. It was that good of a challenge by the South Aussie, Blake Carpenter, and he's happy to concede the corner kick because Will Bauer was in behind there. Really good ball to release him by Jamie Latham as well. Dandy City giving as good as they're getting here.
Latham with the early release. Great run from Bauer and fantastic recovery from Carpenter. Get on to Agwick in a minute. Just let this corner kick take place.
Well, Avondale there, they've kept two players up near the halfway line while they defend this corner kick. Latham slices it to the back post area. Webster's got the free header, and Arbour's there, and it's over the bar. That come off an Avondale player last, but Jack Webster was given acres of space to centre that header back across the goal, and it was a dangerous, dangerous moment for the Avengers.
I'm not sure where Matt Reid ended up there, but he's completely lost Webster. Webster was all alone at the back.
So a nervous moment. Neither side wants to concede now. In Arbour again, and Webster, and it's in the back of the net. Webster is claiming it. Oh, the man who was looking like he was going to be subbed out injured, he's bounced back up to his feet with dramatic effect, and is the most unlikeliest of stories. The sixth place Dandy City taking the lead. And it's the captain, fantastic, Jack Webster. The second corner kick in a row that Avondale couldn't deal with. Webster taking full advantage.
Well, you see, it was almost an identical movement, but Inaba and Webster switched it up. So Inaba went to the back. Carpenter just half a metre away from him, allowing him to knot it down, and Webster just got the wrong side of Matt Reid, in between Reid and Manos, and just got the vital touch.
Well, it's not quite finger fully on the panic button yet for Avondale, but it's not far from it. There's not that long to go in this match, and all of a sudden they find themselves chasing the game here against the team that finished sixth in NPL Victoria this season. They just crept into the finals. They're unbeaten in 10 league games. They put on a fantastic performance in the Dandenong Derby last weekend in the elimination final. And they've turned up today with a full head of steam. It's a clever set piece. Perhaps Avondale should have been doing a little bit better to defend that moment.
And it's literally lit the Dandenong City supporters alight, that goal.
I love the commitment of the Dandy City fans this afternoon. As we said, 2 busloads of them making the way up. I had a few others travelling by car as well, but given how busy the car park at the Reggio Calabria Club can get here, especially on a Sunday afternoon on Father's Day, it's a smart choice to travel by bus, and clever call by Dandy City to offer that as well from Endeavour Hills this afternoon. And they're enjoying themselves, those fans to our right.
Those substitutions become even more interesting now for Avondale. So Agwick maybe might not get involved as much in this sort of situation where he comes to the ball as George Ott. He still will, but not as much as Ott was previously. But what he will do is tie up the central defenders with some runs in behind, and a little bit more variation will keep Inaba and Webster on their toes and guessing. Very tricky to handle when he makes those movements in behind and around that last line. Maybe not as secure in combination and build-up as Ott, but presents a different challenge for those City centre-backs.
Well, if you have just joined us, don't adjust your sets. It is Dandy City leading this one. Jack Webster scoring from the set-piece opportunity. A Jamie Latham corner kick headed back across goal by Gaku Inaba. It wasn't the prettiest goal we've ever seen in finals football, but it damn sure was effective from Jack Webster, who looked to be down and out with a serious elbow injury earlier in this second half. And he's the difference maker, man who loves to score big goals in big finals. Mentioned his memorable goal where he chipped the keeper against Avondale in that 2019 grand final at Amy Park. And he's come up trumps here again this afternoon. Latham picking off the pass. Wellsmore wins it back. Well played by King Kenny. Sewell's ball hangs in the air. Free header for Wellsmore. Kerr getting his first involvement. Another change coming up here as well for Avondale. Carpenter. Towns at full stretch. Couldn't bring it under his spell. Ellie Chestnut looks to surge into the Avondale half. Ran into a bit of a cul-de-sac.
Bring that down.
It's a real control test for Luca Tevere in the centre of Avenger Park. He wasn't able to oblige. Pressure from the fresh legs of Kerr.
Wasn't much happening in front of Corey Sewell there. Seemed to take an age to release that ball, but wasn't really much ahead of him. Trejcheski off for Zinni, which seems to me that Cuba will move into that midfield. Sort of player that can give you lots of drive from there, likes to carry the ball, especially out of those central positions, and we all know what Zinni's capable of on the left. Big challenge now for Valley Cessnick out there.
Well, he's blessed with bags of pace, and he's going to want to run at Cessnick here as he decides to change his mind and wait for the second phase of play. Perhaps here he is getting involved. Towns is out wide left. Goes to ground, and it's a free kick in a handy spot here for Avondale. You'd say Towns winning the free kick.
It's a frustrating one for Dandenong City, that one. Bauer probably didn't need to clip his heels.
So Pierce Clark organising his wall. Looks like he's going to opt for his default two options in there, Latham and Atherinos.
Bryce and Reed will be the two main targets for Avondale here.
In by Tevere, it's punched by Clark. Didn't want to risk trying to claim it at the first time of asking, and he concedes the corner kick.
And he had to, because Reed had gotten himself loose. Almost got it across the line of the ball, Matt Reed.
So some more promising signs for Avondale as they chase the game. It's across the face of the goal, and Aidan Bryce bruised the missed opportunity. What a good ball in by Luca Tevere. Over there from the side of that replacement corner flag and post after the previous one didn't stand up to the conditions of the afternoon. So it's Webster's goal on 71 minutes that separates the sides. Dandenong City got 1 foot in the Chenol NPL Victoria Grand Final at the moment. Latham. Zinni is out wide, the fresh legs running at Valley Chestnick. He's corralled inside, decides to switch the play, and here's the other substitute, Kerr. Overlap provided from Wellsmore. Cuba had made the run inside. Tevere, and his pass was straight to the goal scorer Webster. He was able to make the clearance. So everyone behind the ball for Dandy City here except for Kenny Athu. Looks like Dandy City have decided to make the opportunity to use their bench, or they're imminently about to. We'll await those changes.
Gags Mustafa, definitely one of the ones coming on. Big threat in transition now as Dandenong look to lock this game up. Go good, Mustafa.
I have a feeling Brad Plant might be being called upon as well into the attack. So we'll await those changes to see who's going off. Looks like Will Bauer's number might be up.
I'd imagine it might be both wingers, Steve.
So the reinforcements are ready for Nick Tolios. Kerr, decent first touch, still getting up the back of him, gives away the free kick, and we'll probably see those two changes now.
Saul's done a great job at left back today for Dandy City, just forcing Avondale's wingers often to receive the ball facing backwards and go back towards their own goal. Really experienced display so far from Corey Saul.
And it is as you predicted, Rick. Both of the wingers are being replaced. Brad Plant looking to add to his 4 goals that he has this season in the NPL Victoria. He scored 4 last season as well.
Yeah, probably
for just the 2.
Probably a couple of reasons behind that. Obviously, they can get back and help their fullbacks with the new wingers that have been injected by Avondale, but gives them a little bit of thrust on the counter too.
Here's Zinni. Still the pressure on Valley Chesnick, who, if he missed the first half, he is on a yellow card as well. And as we say, he's almost played better since he was shown the caution.
The longer we go into this second half, especially at 0-1 for Avondale, the deeper and deeper naturally Dandy City might start to fall. And with that wind at their back, Avondale, it's going to be very difficult for them to find spaces behind Dandenong City's last line. There's not much of that space to speak of. Might require some combination play out of the middle, or someone like a Cuba or a Tavia to maybe go on a bit of a mazy run through the middle, potentially to try and unlock things.
Looks like Dan Edwards is going to be thrown on as well. We haven't seen him for quite a few weeks. He was occupying that left back role, and Blake Carpenter returned from injury and made it his own again. He's also played as a central defender this season and scored goals from that position as well. Look at this run from Yitte Towns, opening up the play, drawing defenders. Carpenter's moved up from left back, toe-to-toe with Valley Chesnick. Well played again.
It's exactly what they need. What Towns just delivered there. They need somebody to drive and carry the ball through the middle and just make sure that they're alert in these moments to squash anything in retaliation from Dandy City. Double change for Avondale.
Well, you wonder if Courtney Perkins might be coming on as a attacking right back option, as we've seen Zoran Markowski do before. He put in a really good shift coming in into the game off the bench in that memorable Heidelberg game here as well, that helped contribute towards that Valentini late winner. Zinni hoiks it forward.
Might go out on a limb here and predict that they might be switching to a 3-4-3 and these boys might be coming on as wing-backs.
We'll find out in a couple of moments. Plant, the fresh legs, gets to the byline. Brad Plant, well played. Good recovery by Carpenter in the end, but Avondale will have to concede the corner kick when they'd rather have the ball up the other end of the park. Well, we see those change. Well, they're going to have to hold off those changes. They don't want to make them when they're defending a corner kick.
As the old saying goes. It's Diego Cuba getting stripped and ready as well for Dandenong City.
Hello to the family up in Queensland if they're tuning in. Family and friends of Diego and Sion Cuba. Can't be a loser today, really. In comes the corner. Giannakopoulos was free at the back post.
Same set piece again.
Avondale undone 3 times by it.
Third variation. And you say earlier, it's not the most attractive goal, but if they've done it by design, it's very effective. And you have to take your hat off to them, because those are the sorts of moments that you need to take advantage of in this situation if you are a Dandenong City coming from 6th to play against 1st. And clearly that's something that they've done deliberately, because it's 3 times now that they've repeated that set piece and created some sort of danger from it.
Well, Jamie Latham is getting a rousing applause from the travelling fans here as he's just been substituted to be replaced by Diego Cuba. And yeah, it does look like both of the fullbacks are off for Avondale.
Just on Latham, who's gone off, for me, one of the signings of the season. Went past quietly in pre-season when Nick Tolios added him to the squad, and what an excellent signing he's turned out to be for them. Consistently top performer.
Yeah, such a huge impact. Hitting the scoreboard, 9 goals in all competitions as well. Up from his 3 at Gully the previous year. He's been a good player for a long time. Moreland City as well before that, but Tolsey saw something in him and said he's almost based his game plan around him in that number 10 role. It's a touch for the substitute, Edwards. Agwick unable to get on the end of the ball. Agwick and Matthew both on 13 goals for the season. If one of them could pop up with a goal at either end now, it would be colossal.
It's no 3-4-3, by the way, for that after that change for Avondale. It's just a changing of the fullbacks. Maintain the same general shape it looks to be so far. Just maybe trying to add a little bit of extra potency coming from those fullbacks. As I said, Wellsmore wasn't as advanced as maybe they would have liked him to be.
Here's the substitute, Yaqub Mustafa. Giannakopoulos, who's been a warrior out there for Dandy City this afternoon. As is this man, the goal scorer, Jack Webster. It's a long diagonal out in front of Brad Plant. It's out of play, but it's still not a bad result for Hajduk as they can keep some men behind the ball here. Into the last 4 minutes. Senol NPL Victoria final series. That spot on offer in the grand final next week. Good turn by Manny Agwick. Gets away from Diego Cuba. There's too much on the pass, though.
It's frustrating for Avondale because that's a fantastic bit of play. The first one, ooh, Agwick's just lashed out at Webster there.
Well, Giannis Isis wasn't too far away from it. He looks fairly unmoved. Webster's just keeping focused on the play. Kirker just about got a shove in the back from Sewell, but not enough contact for a foul, and they'll get the throw right in front of Nick Tolios in the Dandy City technical area. Last time they tasted defeat in the league, Dandy City, Nick Tolios was serving a touchline ban. In that match out at Broadmeadows, and then he was off on his trip to Greece. They went on an unbeaten run of 10 games. Zinni, space for the shot almost, but he's closed down. Oh, he finds Courtney Perkins. Oh, and it's a good block by Sewell. Dandy City, that's a courageous performance. They're throwing everything at it. It's hung up by Zinni. They're lining up for it. Agwick was there. Edwards. This is Kirker. He's got Plant to beat. They're defending the crosses like their shots here at the moment, Dandenong City. Edwards might have room to get a ball in. Away by Sewell, not taking any chances.
And this is exactly the effect that they would have wanted that substitution to have, with the two fullbacks both contributing in that last 60 seconds of play from either side. And you see Zinni floating across the line, coming in from that left-hand side and starting to run at players centrally.
Well, that ball's come across, I think, earlier than everyone anticipated, and it's barely even come into play. From Luke Tevere from the corner kick. Piers Clark is going to try and take a healthy chunk of time here. As we approach the final minute, there'll be a fair bit of added time. We had a lengthy injury delay to Jack Webster.
I don't know if the cameras picked that up, but Jamie Latham's still heavily involved from the touchline, from the sideline, sorry. Just urging the team on from the bench.
Well, we've seen Valentini doing the same thing to our left as well. There's a couple of future coaches in the making there, perhaps, Rick. Well, Tommy Giannakopoulos is out on his feet. He was cramping a moment ago, and he's getting some assistance from Corey Sewell to stretch out the calves. As we said, it's been a little bit warmer this afternoon. It's been sitting around 20 degrees. The players maybe starting to feel the effects of running hard into some headwinds and things too this afternoon. And there's that confirmation of an additional 7 minutes that we've had there. In it comes, Piers Clark. He doesn't take any chances. Puts it over the bar. Kerr trying to go to prime Ronaldinho in the 2002 World Cup there, perhaps. So Piers Clark wasn't obliging with the David Seaman impersonation. So 7 minutes is the nominated additional time that Avondale have to work with. It's in by Tevere. It's a crowded box. It's punched away by Clark. There's a bit of afters as well. There's a bit of a scrap in the 6-yard box here. He got some close attention as he was coming to ground there. Piers Clark. And we've got just about every player on the park engaging in the melee here. Kenny Athu is doing a really good job of separating his goalkeeper from the Avondale players. Yellow card is out of the pocket, and Matt Reid goes into the book. So, importantly, Piers Clark also in the book.
That's a sort of chaos that will play into Dandenong's hands, though. Just fizzles out some of Avondale's momentum that they've built up over the past couple of moments.
The only downside to Piers Clark is he won't be able to stand too long over these restarts now that he is on a yellow card. Diego Cuba, well played by the substitute here. He's being chased by Sian. We've seen this in the backyard plenty of times back in Queensland, no doubt. Over the top, Brad Plant's in space. This is Brad Plant to finish it off here. Well, the crowd tells the story. It just trickles past the far post from Brad Plant.
That's a fantastic first-time ball from Danny Kim.
Danny Kim, another one of those quiet achievers of NPL Victoria. You just wonder, is Dandenong City the most underrated side in NPL football? This is Plant battling for the ball, looking to get around two blue shirts over near the players' race. So 7 minutes, as we said, is the nominal added time. And will be at the discretion of referee Giannis Zizis after that. Kerr, good feet from him in the tight space. Gets around Danny Kim, looking to switch the play. Zinni's making a run, then another run over the top. This could be Stefan Zinni's chance to get in behind. Oh, he might have fluffed his lines there. Away by Webster. It was a good ball to find Stefan Zinni from Kerr. Kerr fighting for the ball, just about kept it in and then knocked it out off the inside of his own standing leg, I think, in the end. Jackson Lino was being readied on this near side. Still got his bib on. He'll need to take that off before he can come onto the park. Looks like it's Tommy G, who, as we saw, he had a little bit of cramp a short time ago as the player coming off.
Yeah, and Corey Sewell just move into the middle. Used to play inverted there for Ben Cahn's Melbourne Knights a couple of seasons back. So he's not completely unfamiliar to that role.
What a season he had there under Ben Cahn as well. Some shades of what we've seen from Jamal Ali almost this year. A couple of years earlier, Courtney Perkins was caught in an awkward position there. Well, unprecedented scenes here. A team from 6 has never made it all the way to the grand final. They've had the best away form against other clubs in the top 6. They've only been beaten once by a rival club in the top 6, which was a loss at Heidelberg. So we said they got a 1-1 draw here when they last met. Yellow card was out of the pocket there for Lino, the player who's only been on there for a couple of seconds.
I think it may have been to someone in the technical area for throwing a second ball on Steve.
That would make more
Either
sense.
way.
I didn't think Lino had done too much wrong there. He didn't delay that for so long. Now, that was a late challenge, so it's going to come back.
I don't think it did come from anyone in the technical area anyway. I think it might have come from behind the technical area, but
Come from a fan.
either way, it's chewing up precious seconds for Avondale.
And we've already played nearly 6 minutes, so they're almost there, Dandy City.
Again, there haven't been too many instances where Avondale have made Dandy's last line face back towards their own goal. They haven't found themselves in enough of those situations, Avondale. Maybe here.
It's just about last roll of the dice. Edwards was shielding his eyes from the sun. He's done well initially, but he's coughed it up to Valley Chesnick. He gets it back again. Not sure that was by design. Is Diego Cuba, who's been really good since coming on the last few minutes. And he wins a goal kick here, so they're only seconds away now. This unlikely story will send reverberations around Victorian football, and the Dandy City fans, they're partying harder than when they're at the Oz Pro Cup. It's going to hang in the air from here's Clark's goal kick. It's flicked on by Sewell. This is last roll of the dice here. As the 7 minutes have virtually evaporated for Avondale. We find ourselves at the discretion of Yana Scissors here. Some sections of the fans hoping that was the full-time whistle.
Some of the players thought it might have been as well.
It just had that cadence to it like it was going to be. Well, Piers Clark could be the goalkeeping hero and keeping a clean sheet. And Dandy City have done it. The Disruptors, they've made history against Avondale. The biggest finals upset in the history of NPL Victoria. Dandenong City, they've waltzed into the finals right at the end of the home and away season. They've skipped past their local rivals, Dandy Thunder, and now they've done a number here at Avenger Park. They've knocked off Avondale by 1-0, and the goal-scoring hero, well, who else but it's their captain, the experienced figure, the 35-year-old Jack Webster.
Shows you how important momentum, confidence, all of those things are in football. They've come from 6th, but on an unbeaten run of 10 games, and it's almost carried them all the way over the line to the grand final. Really nice to see the amount of respect between the two coaches at the end as well. Zoran Markovsky, who's done a fantastic job again with this Avondale and his staff this year. Not to be for them, although they are the premiers and no one can take that away from them. And Nick Tolios, who's had a disrupted run in to the finals, but has amazingly gotten his side into a grand final.
Well, they can't believe it. Some of the Dandy City players. Jamie Latham's out there flat on his back. I think he's actually in tears overcome by emotion at the moment that this group of players who just scraped into the finals is going to find themselves this time next week walking out onto Lakeside Stadium to contest for the NPL Victoria Champions title against Heidelberg United. What an incredible scenario, an incredible story. And those two busloads of travelling fans that have made their way up the Monash to this Senol NPL Victoria final series match. They've got full bang for buck this afternoon. They've seen a history-making upset. And to Nick Tolios and his coaching staff, you have to say full credit because they did exactly what they needed to do. And as you rightly said, Rick, their goal from the set piece was something that wasn't a one-off. They actually beat Avondale doing it 3 times.
And it shows for me that's a sign of a top leader in Nick and both Billy Theo as well. When the leader's not there in presence, the machine and the operation's still running in full flow. Shows you how close and together that team are, that club, the spirit, and how well led it actually is.
Well, Jack Webster's just come over to the fence and grabbed the young kids to give them a lap of honour with him, and well, who would begrudge him of doing that? It's a beautiful picture here for Dandenong City fans. Glorious sunshine bathing the venue, and the celebrations, although they need to curb them a little bit for next week's grand final, they could go long and hard into the night here. Well, what a fantastic result for Dandy City. So they're going to enjoy a bit of call and response here from the fans. Avondale have got to regroup. It's been a crazy season for Avondale. They've had to sit in second place a lot of the year in behind Heidelberg. Had that amazing win against Heidelberg and sealed the Premier's title on the final day of the season here against Green Gully. But they don't get to contest the NPL Victoria Grand Final after finishing in first place on the table. They've got 5 weeks now to prepare for the Australian Championship. Their first game will be coming up against Canberra, Croatia. That's going to be here on the Sunday afternoon, the 12th of October. What are they going to do in between now and then, do you fancy, Rick?
Not too sure, Steve. I don't know if you have a week or so off and then get back to it for a mini pre-season. I'm not really too sure. It's a little bit new territory, unprecedented territory. But like I said, no one can take away from them the fact that they were the premiers, even above such a strong Heidelberg that were this season and that are in the grand final. So that's something that they can hang their hat on as they go into the championship. But look at the scenes over there for Dandy City. It's almost like they've won it. Still got one hurdle to go, but wow, they've done well.
And if they can play the way they played over the last 11 matches, they're unbeaten in 11, remember. They bring the form into the grand final. Anything could be possible against that dominant Heidelberg side next week. As you mentioned, Rick, you have to give a lot of credit to Avondale. They've been fantastic this season, and they are well-deserved of their Premier's title in 2025, and also that great cup run that saw them go all the way to the Australia Cup semi-final here last Sunday, narrowly coming up short against an in-form Newcastle Jets side that is on a bit of a tear at the moment. So definitely big credit to the Avondale playing group, Zoran Markowski and the coaching staff. But as we said, hats off to Dandenong City. We thought they were going to be preparing for the Auskro Cup up in the Gold Coast, where they'll actually play Canberra, Croatia in their opening game as well, up there on the AFL Grand Final weekend. But they've got one more game to play, just the small matter of the Senol NPL Victoria Grand Final next Sunday. Looking forward to that one. You can catch that one on the NPL Victoria live stream. It's going to be a fantastic day of football. Well, a fantastic weekend of football, we should say, for that one on Saturday. We've got the VPLW Grand Final between Avondale, who defeated Ringwood 8-0 here yesterday. Avondale, and they've also made the merge with Calder United as well, so that's an interesting one going forward. And they'll play Bundoora United. That's the early game on Saturday at the home of the